Thank you very much, Dave. It's always a pleasure to be here. I love the Festival of Traders. It's always fun and educational for me as well to hear some of the presenters, and it's a great opportunity for ideas to be presented. A lot of new traders on here. The world is a scary place right now, and everybody's looking for a couple of good setups. You know, you can have more than one way to trade, and that's very important to remember, that there's not just one way to trade these markets. You've got people like us that trade the news. We trade the news exactly the moment the news is released, and we've also developed all sorts of new ways to trade around the news. And that's one of the things I'm going to talk about today. A new way to trade the news, our magnet software, which includes built-in reversals, our ARS signal system, and then for the folks that know us, all of our breakouts and trap trades and range trades, earnings trades. We have a lot of different ways we trade the markets. We teach them all very carefully and clearly in our trade room. And today I'm going to really focus on Magnet 2.0. My name is Leigh Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-Minute Trades. And you know, it's really important, I think, to ask yourself, why should you even listen to anything that I have to say? What value could I possibly bring to your life? Who am I? And why is anything I say have any meaning? So let me give you just a quick rundown on who I am and how I got involved in this. All my life, I was a musician, and I went to Berklee College of Music, and I played the trombone. And about 15 years ago, my family asked me to look at their stock portfolio and to help them manage it. Now, I didn't really know anything about it, but I was the kind of person that I remember when the first computer came out by Radio Shack, the TRS-80, and I was hooked on it immediately. I bought the manual and I learned everything I could about it. And I dealt with trading the same way. My family asked me to help them. I immediately got hooked on it. I just was fascinated by price action, by trading, by the markets, and I studied and studied, and now it's like 20 years later, and you know, I'm not bragging, but I am an expert on news trading. For the past 9 years, I have been running a trade room, and we specialize in news trading, event trading, and we call it appointment-based trading because we schedule our trades. We have a weekly schedule. Every week, we know in advance when we're going to be trading. So why should you listen to me? Because I have spent years and years and years learning how to trade the markets, specializing in market moving events. Just remember, no matter what, everything we discuss is for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures. We trade futures. We use the appointment-based trading method. We trade futures, not stocks, not options, and we use the Ninja Trader platform. That's where our software installs. So it's important to know the difference between us and, say, someone that's making option recommendations. It's different. So we're trading futures. Most of our trades are quick. We're in and out of our trades. We never hold a trade overnight. I guess you could say we're day traders, but I don't want to scare people by saying we're news traders, we're day traders. Our software has setups that keep us as safe as humanly possible, as safe as any other trading type of system. So it's no more risky to trade the way that we trade than it is to trade anything, especially in these markets today. Some of the methods that we have for trading are safer than some of the other methods out there, because the magnet that I'm going to talk about today is a system that waits for price to come to you. You're not chasing the market. You're not trading on a breakout at that moment. You're waiting for the price to come to you. So it's a fantastic way to trade market opens, earnings, and I'll go over our system. So at 10-Minute Trades, we have a very simple 4-element system. The WMM is our schedule, weekly schedule. The DMM is our daily trade reports, and then our trade room access and our software. Our software is 3 strategies that they all install into NinjaTrader, and they essentially become a part of NinjaTrader. When you look at the platform, and I'll show you the platform in a few minutes, our software is part of the platform. That's the way it works when someone like us writes software for the NinjaTrader platform. It becomes a part of the platform, making it easier to use because of that. You load it in once, and then all of our setups are available. So again, the elements in our system: the weekly schedule, our daily trade reports, trade room access, and then our 3 strategies: News Trader, which has range trades, breakout trades, spike trades, specialized reversal trades, our magnet trade strategy, and our trap trade strategy. 3 strategies. Within those strategies are other setups. So you might have 5 or 6 different ways you could trade with us, all part of 3 major strategies. This is our weekly schedule, and our weekly schedule is free to anybody who wants it. It comes out every Sunday, and the schedule shows the time of the event that we're trading, the time that our trade room opens. Not every event we trade in our trade room. Some events aren't worth trading. And then the name of the event, the instrument we're looking at, whether or not we're streaming on YouTube. We do all sorts of different things, but essentially we put out a schedule every Sunday. It gets emailed to all of our members and anyone that wants it, because it's free. And you'll know when you're going to be in our trade room. We trade on a schedule. Some of the events that we trade, they get what we call the daily market mover. In other words, they get covered, they get analyzed, and then we issue a trade report the day before the event. So for instance, the FOMC statement, when that is coming out on Wednesdays, the Tuesday before, we send our members the daily market mover for the FOMC statement. And on that daily market mover, it has ways that we're going to trade the FOMC statement. It may have the setup we're considering when we get to the trade room, and it may have a couple or more than a couple of different ways that we are considering trading that event. And then in our trade room, we discuss the current market conditions. We look at the daily market mover and talk about whether it's appropriate in its settings or if they need to be modified. Maybe if you look at the market today, we came into the market this morning, we were in our trade room at 8 o'clock for the CPI report, and we were also looking at trading the oil market open. And oil moved like 100 ticks in a few minutes before the open. So if you have a report and you're putting an order above price and below price, and those brackets are only 10 ticks, and that's your normal setup, but when you get to the trade room, all of a sudden you see a market that moved 100 ticks, you might be changing the setup you thought you were going to trade. So one of the most important elements of our system is the trade room. All of the community members are sharing their setups. They're sharing whether it's safe to trade. Sometimes you'll be faced with a market that shouldn't be traded, and you need to know that. And if you're a new trader, you might not know how to tell that. So again, that's part of the reasons why people follow me and listen to me. I know when markets are safe or not safe to trade. Does that mean every trade I take is a winner? No, they're not all winners, but I can at least keep the market as safe as possible for you. Keep the trades as smart as possible for you, especially if you're new to trading. So the daily market mover is a report that we send out the day before an event, and it has information on how we're going to trade that event. So appointment-based trading, it's a time-based, pre-planned approach to the market. You can schedule your days and your trades up to a week in advance. That's the time frame we prefer. There's 3 categories, 3 major categories that events are created in. High impact economic reports, so that's a category. GDP reports, FOMC statements, PPI, CPI, those are high impact economic reports. They're going to move the markets. We trade those reports. Category 2 would be earnings reports. We're constantly trading earnings. We invented a very unique way of trading futures on earnings. We don't trade the stock, we trade futures. So we've done a lot of research. Some of our best trades are earnings trades. Some of our favorite trades are earnings trades. And in fact, let me show you a fun earnings trade because I brought a whole bunch of videos here. So one of our favorite trades has been Caterpillar. It's been a very good earnings trade. So we have all these tools, most of them free or very low cost, that we teach our members how to use in our trade room. When we're doing earnings, we look at TradingView, the free version, Thinkorswim. I'll bet you didn't know, but for only $50, you can have a Thinkorswim account and you can look at stock prices before and after the market closes for 50 bucks. That's all you need to do to create an account. Totally one of the best deals in the market for data, especially if you're trading earnings. And then we're looking at the futures in the Ninja Trader platform. So we know what time the earnings come out. We study when they come out, and then our software creates these orders that get placed on the chart. And let me go right to the right spot. So this was Caterpillar's most recent earnings. And what happens is our software puts the orders on the chart. This is what we call a range trade, where we're creating a range in time, maybe 30 seconds. We break out of the range and then we're pulled into the market. We were pulled into the market long, and then what's going to happen is price is either going to keep going and go through our targets, or it's going to stop and pull back and take us out. We never know at the exact moment of the trade. In this particular trade, the price just chopped around. It didn't go very far. It hit our first target, and we were able to get out with a very small profit. Other times, we'll then take a trade after the news is released, and maybe we'll take a reversal trade. Like in this case here, we went short after the market went up and failed. We went short, tested levels on the downside, and had a winning trade on the downside. And then the big trade, let me show you one more. I want to show you a nice exploding earnings trade because those are some of our favorites. So we recently traded Honeywell's earnings, and let's see, pull those out with Caterpillar also. There was an explosion to the upside. Let me get the right video. Here we go. That's the one I was hoping to show you. So the earnings came out at 6:30. Caterpillar earnings came out, and you can see a phenomenal explosion to the upside all the way to the high of the day. And everybody in our trade room made hundreds of dollars on that earnings trade. Now that's what we call a breakout trade. Why did we trade it? We know when Caterpillar's earnings come out, we know what time, we know their average move, so we can set up targets that we're going to hit and a stop that makes the trade as safe as possible. And then when the earnings come out, it moves the futures. We know that Caterpillar moves the Dow futures, and that's the instrument that we trade. So earnings, big company earnings reports are a fantastic category to trade market movement. And then the market open and the market close, and I'm particularly going to talk about market opens today. We have two major setups that we use for the current market opens. We have breakout trades, and we trade our breakouts on the MNQ or the NQ. Some members are trading on silver, some members are trading gold, but for us, we're concentrating breakout trades on the MNQ. Let me show you just a typical MNQ breakout trade. Let me grab a video here. Give me half a second. 2 seconds, I apologize. So what a breakout does, and this was a crazy one. This was about 2 weeks ago, one of the best MNQ open trades I've ever seen. So we have a setup where we use a bracket that's not too big. It's about 35 ticks. right at the market open. Our orders go on the chart, and then we are looking for an explosion in price, either up or down. The goal with a best open trade, we get filled. We then can move our stop into a safe position. Once you hit your first target, the goal is move your stop to safety. So if the trade reverses, you cannot lose your first target. We moved our stop to safety to that green and black little square. That was our entry price. And then as the price kept going up, the goal is to trail, to bring the stop more and more into profit. Every time the stop gets moved up, we're making more money because we're protecting more profit. The price that day kept going and going and going. It just kept going. We kept moving our stop. We kept expanding our target. So the key is you need to understand how to manipulate the charts and the chart trading. It's very easy, but if someone doesn't teach you how to do it and doesn't teach you the concepts, then you don't know what to do. Most traders, they'll leave everything in place. It'll hit their target. It'll hit their stop if the trade reverses, and they'll miss out on expanding their target. We were still expanding the target. Folks, this trade's still going on, and we're still making more and more profit as the price kept going up. So if you understand and are taught the technique of trailing as the price goes up, expanding your target, and again, it's not very complicated, but it is a technique that you want to be able to take advantage of so you can maximize the amount of money you make when the market gives you a gift. That was the Energizer Bunny trade. It was crazy. It just kept going up and up and up. Now, very often you just get a more normal kind of an open, and this is a more normal open. MNQ on the left. Again, we trade the MNQ every morning. And this morning, it goes through, it fills our first target, and bingo, it hits the second target. And in this particular trade, it's going to come back down. I hope I didn't just show you the same video. Let's watch it for 1 second. I want to show you a more normal one. There it goes. So it went up, it went through both our targets. I moved my stop to safety, and then eventually, a little bit more quickly than the last trade, it eventually reverses and hits the stop that you've moved into profit, okay? And that's important. Market opens with our magnet software and with breakouts is what I'm going to talk about today. And remember, in these categories, these 3 categories, there are hundreds of these trades. We find these trades on the various free calendars, Forex Factory, investing.com, tradingeconomics.com. We use earningswhispers.com to find earnings schedules and stocks that we want to trade. And we also use financialjuice.com for their Squawk Box. It's a very, very good Squawk Box. What do I mean by Squawk Box? If you have a headset on, you can actually hear the news being announced in your headset. So let's say you're trading Apple earnings, and we trade Apple earnings every quarter. Apple happens to be a great earnings trade. When I listen to Financial Juice, I can hear Apple's earnings were great, Apple's earnings were terrible. It might help me to manage the trade if I know the earnings are fantastic. That might mean that the NQ, which we're trading, is going to continue up, and I won't jump out of the trade just because there's a small pullback. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you can't trade that way in a prop account. It's not true. As long as you know which companies you can choose, our members get real payouts in prop accounts. This is one of our members recently, $900 payout, took another one last week. A lot of our members are getting payouts in their prop accounts. Particularly our magnet strategy that I'm going to show you today is very prop friendly because it's very consistent, and prop account trading has consistency rules. In other words, they don't like it, the prop companies, if you have a $1,000 winner and then an $80 winner and then a $2,000 winner and then a $100 winner, they want to see more consistency, 150, 250, 89. You know what I'm saying? Not these gigantic differences in your profits. And they have rules that monitor that. So our type of trading with the magnet strategy in particular is very prop friendly. So once again, 3 strategies: the news trader software, magnet trade strat, and our reversal continuations, and our strategies install into NinjaTrader. All right, I showed you a little bit that you can trade market opens. Everything about the market open is exciting to traders. Everybody wants to trade them, but nothing is easy. But one thing that will make your trading better is chart setup. Our new magnet software, it's being released this Friday, comes with a template that automatically configures your chart with our setup so that you don't have to load anything in. We still teach you how to do it because I'm a firm believer in knowing how things work. It'll make you a better trader. We use a very simple set of indicators. Most of them are free. The current day open, high, low, part of Ninja. Pivots, part of Ninja. VWAP, part of Ninja. Volume up, down, Ninja. Net change display, Ninja, and the squeeze. All of these indicators we have customized, created a chart template. We include that with our Magnet 2.0 strategy. So what is a magnet? What is the magnet strategy? And why is it so good at the market open? So I showed you a couple of trades. Let me show you a couple of quick magnets. Within our magnet strategy, we also have a full-blown ARS signal system, we call it, aftershock reversal system. After the news, after the magnet is done, the magnet trade has made money or lost money for that matter, we have a system that generates signals for a reversal. And I'll show you some of those signals. A magnet is very simply a level on the chart that many people, because so many orders are placed around these levels, these magnet areas tend to attract price. Things like high of day, low of day, VWAP, those are my absolute favorite magnets. The PP pivot is a very good magnet. If you're a Fibonacci trader, Fibonacci levels can be very good magnets. But you say, hey, I don't see any Fibonacci's in your chart setup. Well, we thought of everything when we designed the magnet trade. You can type in any custom level and define that as a magnet. So if you love trading fibs, if you love Ichimoku waves or whatever the heck you like, Elliott waves, whoever's waves you like out there, you can type in any level and that level can be a tradable magnet. So remember, what's a magnet? A magnet is a level on the chart that attracts price. We wrote a whole system about exiting the trade at the magnet. That's the beauty of our software. Our software puts these heavy lines on the chart. We have 3 different magnet systems within our magnet system. Actually more. I don't want to scare you and make you think it's confusing because it isn't. It's very simple. My favorite part of the system is high of day, low of day magnets. Everybody knows. You watch the charts, you're trading your normal setup, and you're always thinking to yourself, holy crow, I knew it was going to test the high of the day. I knew it was going to test the low of the day. And sure as you're sitting there, price tests the high, it tests the low, and you're thinking, if only I had a way to take advantage of that. Well, that's what the magnet software does. We put these 2 heavy lines on the chart, one below the high and one above the low. That's our entry, and those lines are movable. So if you have market structure, if you like to read market structure and place your orders around market structure, for instance, if you look at this chart that we're looking at right now, it's very easy to see what I mean when I say market structure. Right here, this red candle is the end of an area of market structure of price going up. So you have a level that might be a great level to enter a long trade if price goes through that level. That's what we mean by market structure. So you have a very intelligent level of structure where you could put a long order. So when we designed our magnet strategy, we knew it was critical to be able to adjust the orders for the entries. And the same is true on the downside. In this case, you don't really have obvious market structure. So you might just be placing your order 10 or 15 ticks before you get to the exit. The exit is the low, the red line. The exit is the green, the high of day. In this case, the market's going up. I created the magnet trade. I turned on the automatic button. We have an auto mode in the magnet, and watch what happens. The price goes through that level, and it already filled. We did it again because it happened so fast. And then watch what happens. Price goes up right through the magnet, and then our software can also put a second order. If the price goes through the magnet, we can have a second level to take advantage of that. Sometimes maybe you'll only get halfway through. Remember that feature where you're moving your stop to safety, same thing in the magnet trade. One of the features that our software has is when you hit your first target, you can tell the software where to move your stop. Sometimes you'll hit your first target, maybe you want to move your stop 10 ticks away from your entry. Maybe you want to move your stop to entry. Maybe you want to move it to plus a few ticks. But the point is, you have the ability to move your stop to safety or very close to safety. So if the trade reverses, you can always take advantage of that first target getting hit. That trade reversed, but it was profitable because it made its money on the first target, and then it reversed. YM open. Magnet after magnet after magnet. Let me show you a couple more because we have so many of them. Every morning in our trade room, we're trading YM magnets. Let me get the right video. Let me just show you another one. The concept is always the same. I first start out looking for high of day, low of day magnets. Now remember, we have all of these buttons that are part of our magnet software. I can target the VWAP. That's this line down here. If price is close to this level, I may target that level instead of the high of day. I love high of days the best because they attract price like it's crazy. Here it goes again. Watch what happens. Our order is going to get filled. When we go through our order line, we get filled. Then our software puts the orders on the chart. I put both orders at the high of the day. Price is going to go up, and it's going to take me out. Bingo. That was a perfect magnet trade. Price filled us under the magnet, went through the magnet for a profit. Over and over and over, every chart you look at, every instrument you like trading will have magnets. If you like trading oil, then I promise you, you can find magnets for oil. Here's an oil trade on the short side, all right? Thick red line, exit at the low of day. That's the concept, very simple. Price goes through the red line, fills us short. Price is gonna get pulled into the magnet. It's magnetized, pulled into the magnet. Let me let it run itself instead of moving it. And that is another perfect magnet trade. That same day, here it goes, right through the magnet. Same day, another trade set up on MCL to the long side. All right, so we set up an automated magnet. Purple means auto. If it's not auto, the software will blink purple and you can press the button and enter the trade that way. So it's a great way to watch. See if you think that level is going to work. And as it gets closer and closer, you could wait until the last minute to turn it automatic, or you could turn it on when it pierces the line. So you have a lot of control over the trade. It could be completely automated or partially automated. Here's another magnet to the upside. We're filled and we're just waiting to shoot through. Bingo, there's your profit. Obviously, not every single magnet trade is a winner, but this is a very high probability trade, particularly around news and around market opens. So then there's another very important feature that we like to use. We have something called the reverse continuation. After a magnet is made, then a lot of times what you'll want to do is change your direction and take a trade in the opposite direction. So let's say maybe you had a very nice long oil trade and it hit your high of the day magnet. Well, a lot of times what you can do after that happens is put on a scalp and go the other way. So let me show you what I mean when I say that. So here is, let me just get to the part of the video. Here is a trade on gold in the middle where all we did was put on a reverse continue. On our software, we have these little buttons, instant long, instant short. It's like a controlled scalp. We press the button, it put me in the market short. I expanded my target, and then I even moved my stop to safety to try and get as much as possible out of this trade. That was a manual trade. It was discretionary. Put on anytime you want, but very effective right after a new magnet is made. Because very often after a high is made or a low is made, what happens? You get a reversal of that level. It happens all the time where you hit a level and then the levels reverse. That's built into our magnet strategy. I showed you the MNQ breakout. Let me give you a heads up a little bit about our ARS system. So after we trade during the day, and this is just charts from today. This is today's Ninja Trader charts. Looking at current gold. So when we came into the market this morning, gold was negative. So I was looking more for shorts than for longs on gold. Now, at 11 o'clock on gold, and that's what this chart is right here, our reversal system gave us a short signal. But look at the quality of this signal. This is our ARS system. We were looking for a high of day, low of day magnet. And let me just go back a little bit in time and see what else happened. This was this morning's trading. So this set of signals right here was the market open is right here where you can see my cursor. And the market open, you know, gold went down on the market open and it started making a new low. Generally, the first signal on a new low, we know is one of the worst signals. But even if you took it and got stopped out, the signal after that, look how much profit that signal offered compared to how much loss that signal offered, even if you took it. We have very specific rules that tell us where our stop would be. It's not hundreds of ticks away. It's right under the low, because if it makes a new low, we want to be out of the trade, okay? This particular case, you might have gotten stopped if you took that signal, but it went up over 180 ticks at $10 a tick for gold on a positive signal. That's our ARS aftershock reversal system. Why do we call it aftershock? Because after the shock of making the new low, a great signal was generated. In our trade room, we're often trading the YM at the open. So this is what our signal system looked like this morning. A new low was made. This was a lunchtime signal. This was a great, great signal. No signal before it. If you took this signal, I don't even know how many ticks were, because honestly, I wasn't looking at this chart. I happened to be on the YM because we trade it every morning. So let's take a lousy entry a couple of minutes after the signal, because you don't have to take entry the second the signal comes on. So over to here, 148 ticks in that signal. Now, I think the market kept going up, if I'm not mistaken. still going up. Okay, so there was a lot of possible profit, keeping in mind when the market does some reversals, that's where you might be getting out with your profit because you might be thinking, hey, the market might be changing direction. So you'd always remember, you could look at a signal and say, hey, 500 ticks of signals, but that's not always honest and truthful. You want to look at price and look at levels where you might have gotten out. But almost all of these signals this morning were very good. This one was a little bit early. It was a long signal. We would not get in on a red candle on a long signal. Normally, I wait a candle before I enter. So if the candle color changes on the next candle, it protects me from a new low being made. Because remember, our signals are being generated when the reversals are taking place. But that's one level of our ARS signals. We also have VWAP signals. We have the ability in our magnet software to trade signals around the VWAP. For instance, here, we were getting signals around the VWAP. We have the ability to trade high of day, low of day signals, VWAP signals, and we also have a standalone trade all the signals that the system can generate. And we also have ways to filter some of the signals. ARS standalone generates a tremendous number of signals, but these are unfiltered. We do have ways of filtering our signals. That's what we call the ARS signal system, okay? So we've got multiple systems in our magnet software. We've got reverse continue built into the magnet. So in other words, we can take our reverse continuation trade by setting it up. Very easy to set it up inside the magnet. You just tell it how many positions do you want to trade. How big is your first target in ticks? If you're trading gold, maybe it's a 20 tick target, and bingo, maybe you have a 30 tick stop. You apply the trade, and then you can enter the reverse continue trade with the button. You just press this reverse long or reverse short, and you can take the trade. So if I think this market's going down, I can enter short. I can control my target, make it bigger. Bingo, it hit my target. That was a $180 gold trade, believe it or not. That's how crazy gold's moving in these days. You want to be careful trading in these markets. Our magnet software absolutely makes it safer because you can set targets and stops and make your trade as safe as humanly possible. You can wait for the market price to come to you. So I love our magnet system and the ARS signals. So why be part of the 10-minute trades community? Because we share setups and we have a great group of traders that offer advice and help while everybody's in the trade room. So here's the deal, everybody. Market 2.0 is releasing this week. On Friday, we're going to have a webinar. 90% of the release data is already up on our website. We are releasing this Friday. You could join us for all of our upcoming market open trade rooms, our news trade rooms, our earnings trade rooms. In all these rooms, we're always trading magnets because that's part of what we do. When we trade the market opens, we're every morning trading YM magnets. If you join with us, you have access to all of our software, everything that we market, the daily market trade reports, also our trade room subscription. And remember, we're trading on a schedule. So if you have other subscriptions, other companies that you like to trade with, you could look at our schedule and you could say, hey, I want to trade the FOMC this week. I want to trade the grain report this week. And you could come into our trade room when it suits you. What I recommend that people do is pick the best of the best trades and trade those with us. Don't trade the reports that aren't performing that well, but trade the ones that are doing the best. That's the best way to make money with 10-minute trades. We have our JOBB trap trade software. We can trade in a prop account. For just $97, we created a new membership, www.thenewstraders.com. This is going to expire Friday at midnight. If you sign up, you'll get full access to the new Magnet software, all of our strategies, the breakouts, trading earnings with us. I think that $97 a month is a steal for what we do. Easily, one market opening trade could easily pay for a couple of months of service. I really think that any system that you're interested in trying, I think that people quit too soon. A lot of times you'll try a system. What if you try a system on a lousy day? You think the system doesn't work, you get up and you quit. I recommend stay at least 2 to 3 months with any system, at least if you know the system is reputable and the people are honorable and honest. Give any system a chance. You could go through a bad week. It happens in trading. You might go through your first day, might be terrible, and then you might have a fantastic 2 weeks. But I would give any system that you try more than a month, because you'll never know for sure if the system is right for you. A week or so, it takes time to get accustomed to the way a system works and to the way the markets trade that system. So for $97 though, it's a month worth of our full pro membership. Just go www.thenewstraders.com. It'll take you to our website. Shows you everything you get. We have a whole bunch of bonuses. You get our quick start video. You get obviously the Pro Trader subscription, all the licenses to all of our software, the 3 strategies. Very, very, very simple setup, okay? We want everybody to try it. We will teach you how to create your schedule, how to trade the news, how to trade these markets. These markets are crazy these days. The www.thenewstraders.com. This will expire Friday at midnight. Everything you get, the News Trader software, the Magnet Trade software, the new 2.0 on Friday. We will teach you all about the appointment-based trading method, trading on a schedule, trading the market moving events that we know are going to move the markets. We know when the markets are going to be ripe for trading. You don't have to sit around for an hour waiting for markets to move. We know the time to go in and look at those times. When we have our earnings trade rooms, we will teach you how to trade earnings with futures, and we'll teach you all about creating a schedule. We'll teach you about trading the best of the best events that we call the family money trades, FMTs for short. I'll guide you step by step in every trade room. So this is the deal, folks. Get the 2.0 Magnet Pro membership. It's just $97. Even if you just want to learn about what we do, spending $97 is not a lot of money these days. Go to thenewstraders.com, start looking at our schedule every day. Know when the market is safe to be in it. Know when big market moving events are coming out. If you have additional questions, you can reach me personally at help@10minutetrades.com. And I want to thank Dave and everybody here at Festival of Traders for inviting me today. And I'm excited about Magnet 2.0. I hope I've gotten you interested, and I'd love to see you all in the trade room.